All right, guys, welcome to Bite Me. This is season 1, episode 37, The Truth About Racial Disparities in South Dakota with reztuff, aka Lynn Smokey Hart. We hear a lot today about BLM and the devastation of racial inequality in the bigger cities and more densely populated areas. Police brutality, medical mistreatment, underfunded schools and impoverished neighborhoods, and just plain systemic racism in general. People have often asked me why I don't speak out more on BLM in some of my posts, and I always tell them that while BLM is greatly needed and necessary, in the rural Midwest, we fight an entirely different battle, which is white ignorance versus the indigenous people. Montana, Nebraska, Wyoming, North Dakota, and South Dakota are heavily populated with two particular groups: rich white ranchers and ancestors of the Native American people who once rightly inhabited the land that we now all sit upon. The racial disparities are many, but the exposure to the existence of the problem is few. That's why I brought on a fellow TikToker and South Dakotan neighbor, Lynn, aka Smokey Hart, to discuss with me today on Bite Me. Smokey, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, how you doing? My name is Lynn Smokey Hart. They call me Smokey. Let's see, I'm a member of the Yankton Sioux tribe in southeastern South Dakota, and I'm also black. My mother was full-blooded Yankton Sioux, and my dad was black. She met at Rapid City Ellsworth Air Force Base back in the 50s, and then I was born in 1960, so here I am. Yeah, just raised black and Indian, adopted by a white family. And so, yeah, that's what I am.
Very
They
cool.
call me a Belindian, black Indian.
Okay. All right. So, and you were discussing with me a little bit prior about how kind of weren't sure where you fit in growing up because you had those three sectors of where you came from in your life.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
So that's today we brought Smokey on to ask him about some of his experiences. And you've mentioned to me before, as you said a moment ago, that you are Black and Indigenous heritage. What was that like for you growing up in rural South Dakota? And was the majority population where you were white?
Well, I think mostly growing up as a child, I didn't because I was basically a flake of pepper and a salt shaker. Uh,
Okay.
I like to consider myself. Um, so I was treated as a young child in Chancellor, South Dakota, and I didn't even know I had that I was different color um, because nobody brought it up, and it never happened till I was 10. But then when my foster mother passed away, Elizabeth Holfers, they flew me right out of class in 5th grade straight to Washington D.C. out of Sioux Falls into Washington D.C. from Chancellor, South Dakota, all white Chancellor, South Dakota,
Wow.
and I freaked out.
That's
So I was like,
crazy.
yeah, and it was like, wow, all of a sudden. So I mean, it's just like somebody just took you out of one room, put you in the next room, and there are no white people there, you know. And it
Yeah.
was like, what just happened here? But that was a blessing in disguise. Actually, I wish I could do that with all white racist people. Stick them in an all black community and say you got about a month, and then give me all your money. It'll be right here when you get out. Now come on out of it, just like everybody else has to.
It sounds
You
like
know, you cannot. You huh?
Oh, I was just
What
gonna
was
say,
that?
it sounds like my experience with the Native American women when I went to jail. I had a certain perception of that community, and I went to jail. And in the jail, the white women were very judgmental, shunning of me. And then the Native women came in and sort of like shrouded me. Not all of them, but the community in general of them came and I don't want to say welcome. Nobody's welcoming anybody in jail, but they opened their arms, and it was kind of this thing of like, you know what? Like you see you're no different than us in this situation, and they helped me through that. So that changed my whole perception.
And that's true because until you give a human being a chance, you'll never know if they can help you or hurt you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's sad is that the fear factor is that honestly, you would not be having all these shootings I don't think if you were not scared of who you're shooting.
Yeah. Hate and hate crimes are, I think they're declared as the from the national emergency disaster as a hazard to health conditions. Um, so, I mean, yes, you're correct. You've got with the police issue and all of that. I mean, all of that stems, I believe, from racism and fear, where, hate and fear kind of come in the same way. So, I mean, yeah, probably would have a lot less shootings if people just educated themselves a little, which is frustrating to talk about because it really is so easy. you
Oh
know?
yeah, definitely, definitely. And it's just like the insurrection on January 6th. If
Yeah.
that had been black people doing that, we'd have a massacre. They'd have the machine guns blasting.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It would be a totally different standard for a different set of people. That's absolutely
It's
correct.
it's just that's why when I knew Donald Trump came out with "Make America Great Again," what he was saying was "Make America White Again,"
Yeah.
and that's what was being done and being said, and still being done and being said today at this moment in time. You know,
I feel that he emboldened the racist to be racist, and additionally, he emboldened these chauvinistic white men to belittle the women as well. I mean, that's what he did.
exactly. You're so right. And
People
so
are like, well, they don't
that's
have very much power because they're just, uneducated white people. I'm like, no, they have power in numbers. Like you think he's not doing anything, but he's creating an army.
yeah, exactly. Because I know that's how he. I mean, people won't admit it. They think it's just political, but no, it's not. Uh, it's authoritarian, and it's just sad. It's really sad the things I've seen in my life. You know.
I'm sure the stories you could tell. On that note, what experience from your past would you say sticks out to you the most that made you realize you didn't necessarily fit the mold of the conservative, wealthy white rancher here in the Midwest? And how were you treated differently, if differently at all?
Wow. I guess mostly it'd be, people don't really know me. I ride the best horses. I don't ride like I used to, but I've worked on an 18,000 acre ranch up in western South Dakota over by Faith called Riva, South Dakota. I worked for my best friend. His name is Blair Hamilton. Anyways, but yeah, we were running 500 head of cows, 250 head of replacement heifers, registered red Semisols. And see, Blair taught me everything. You know, him and
Yeah,
I were like ebony and ivory on horseback. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's my
yeah,
best friend. And he would always tell me about what's like being Irish and the potato famine and things like that. That was probably our common denominator. But
yeah.
he always knew like he was a guitar player and a singer and a rodeo star. They call him Bear Bloodlands Hamilton. But anyways, we would go to Deadwoods, all through Rapid City, and he'd pack in his guitar and all of a sudden start singing, and there we go, having fun.
It's
But
my
as far as
understanding, the Irish and the indigenous community, they have a bond. They take care of each other.
right, yeah, and that's what happens to people that are even blacks and Indians bond together that way, because that's one thing people always they plan up them black and Indian, that half of my ancestors were brought in on a slave ship, the other half was already here. I say, all right, America, what are you gonna do with me? And then my kids, I got 4 kids, I got twin boys and 2 girls. They're black, white, or black, half German, quarter Sioux, quarter black, enrolled in the ancient Sioux tribe. There goes the neighborhood. I melted it.
Everybody's minds went.
Yeah, it's like, and that's America. I mean, the America that I grew up kept hearing about. It's a melting pot. It's a melting pot. But when I was growing up, I didn't go to my senior prom because there was no black women for me to go down the ramp with, and every girl I ever asked, they said, "No, I can't do that." So I
Oh
didn't even go
my.
to my senior prom, and that was in 1979.
And so, even at that age, you were knowing of the fact that these women were denying you based on the color of your skin and maybe what their fathers thought or something along those natures.
Well, their parents and my friend Blair's parents, that era, the I suppose I
So
don't know what the deal is, but they were like World War II veterans, or what I'm saying, that era of people.
that's silent generation, I think, is what they call that.
What they call it?
Well, there'd be boomers, which is you said yours, you mentioned your age to me. I don't want to release it here on the podcast,
Oh,
but
I
you
don't
would be
care. I don't care.
so 60 is
I'm proud
boomer
of my
generation.
age.
And then prior to that would be the silent generation, and those would be, yes, the World War II vets.
Yeah,
So,
that's that era. Uh, I'm glad they're gone
yeah,
because they were so racist and blatantly bigoted. Now they got a new era coming up that's trying to emulate them, and I see it's going one big circle.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It seems like there's some sort of emotional unavailability there, just this very rigid in a disregard to learn anything new at all or invite any new concepts into the mind at all. Like they're
Well,
scared.
I mean, take a look at Governor Christie. Call me
Yeah.
when you're an American. I mean,
Oh my God.
really?
Oh my
Why don't you
God.
call me when you're an American, Christie?
You know what
You know.
the thing about that is, and I'm saying this, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, but like I don't think she realizes that she probably does have, because you and I both know that Christy Nome loves to save a buck, and so I'm sure she has people working for lower wages who are willing to work for those wages who aren't necessarily legal, and I'm sure she is more than happy to keep that flying under the radar. But if she had to go talk to her, rich white friends, then that's like you said, they put on a different show for different people.
Exactly. And like right here in Flandreau, they got Ramsdale eggs. And this is the backyard of Bill Jankel, I'm telling you. And
Yeah.
there's Mexicans up here, but you don't see Christy coming over here and start kicking people out of her backyard saying, call me when you're an American.
They need
Because
people for the labor.
well, yeah, I mean that's just it, because America's too goddamn lazy.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah, I
absolutely.
was watching a show the other day about a guy out in California complaining that all of his fruits and vegetables are going to waste because he can't get no labor up here now.
I saw that. I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. You want your cake and eat it too. It's like, but it has to be
Oh,
white cake.
white people love to bitch. They love to bitch about everything. God, I never seen people so entitled. I mean, like, and I don't think anybody ever seen any people so entitled in their life as the American white people. I mean, it really is cheeseburgers sitting on your couch, bitch about everything, and form a whole personality around a TV reality star who decided to run for president. It's lunacy. It's absolute lunacy, Smokey. But
I
um,
agree.
do you feel
I'm
like
not
in
mad at
South?
anybody. I just don't understand. Like I said, I'm not mad at anybody. I mean, it's a free country. You can vote, just believe what you want. But when you start shooting me, that's time to quit. Because I don't know. I mean, I want to get back to a little bit because people don't realize the fear that's involved. I'm driving it now. I won't drive it at night anymore. I'm sorry, I just won't do it. I have to see it every day. A black man being ripped out of his car. Just this morning in North Carolina, they shot that guy. Now they won't show the video,
Yeah, I did.
and that's going on right now. And it's like, really, you guys, what's up? And I don't pack guns. I don't shoot things. I don't, I don't do that. My goal in life is to bring America together, not apart, and I wish people could kind of see and feel the way I do, it's like, we can do this as Americans, because why do you got to put on a job application? What's your ethnicity?
I agree.
Should just put American on it. That's what I am.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
I don't understand why they need to ask beyond theft about a felony record either, or perhaps violence, but I can't imagine what it is like for you having to see that on the television and see all of these people dying literally every day for no necessary reason. And more than half the time, it's by the police who are here, who are supposed to protect, us. I would imagine that is a feeling to wake up, that's very hard to wake up to.
Well, yeah, because they almost like they want us to become numb to these shootings.
Right.
How can you do it? Let me start shooting your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your aunts, and see how you feel every day as a white guy shot by a black cop. How would you feel? It's like,
You're
okay,
expensive.
pretty soon. I mean, shoot, white people put fences around cemeteries. We don't do that on the reservation
Yeah.
because there's a fear in there. Everything has to be fenced in. Yeah, it's like,
Right.
really, you got a fence around your garden, you got a fence around. I'll
And a
show you.
fence around your
I'll
dead
show.
people.
Yeah, but the point is that as far as like with women and the way South Dakota just lets things happen, and it's like the rapes. And what is that about? Rape day? Really?
We're second in the nation for rape. And you know what's interesting, Smokey, and I've said this on my podcast before, everybody loves to blame that on the reservations. But I know for a fact, and I know firsthand, if you know what I mean, because I am a part of this statistic, that we are second in the nation for rape because of the military bases here. So
Right.
that's something Christy Nome can be real proud of, you know?
I mean, if guns don't happen to her kids, it's fine.
Yeah, and her rich friends. Yeah, it is like that. They don't care about us. I'm sorry to learn that you feel scared to drive at night. I can't imagine again what that must be like, and it's very disappointing to me that somebody like you, like just a normal dude just trying to go get his groceries, can't just go get his groceries without living in fear of, I'm assuming, police is what you're talking about.
Well, I made a joke out of it. I mean, I joke around a lot about things that bother me, but it's like humor helps me a lot. But anyways, I said any white drivers for hire. I got to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I joke about that, but in reality, that isn't funny. I mean,
No.
I mean, it's like most people just think about it. You jump in your car and you take off.
Right.
Just go where the hell you want to go. I can't, if I want to drive to Denver right now or Minneapolis, wherever the hell I want, Grand Forks or wherever I want to go, I can't do
Yeah.
that anymore. I got to take somebody with me.
Yeah. That's
And then I hate always being asked, okay, who are you? Okay, you're wearing a cowboy hat. That's suspicious. Number two, where are you going? What are you doing here? It's like, hold on here, man. I'm the only guy you will ever meet that has to carry his bio with him in his vehicle to hand the highway patrolman so they can read it. And I will tell them now that you know who I am. You might want to call your boss, Christy Norman, and tell her you got me pulled over and explain to her why. Because I had to do that with Dennis Dugard one time, which
oh
I
my
did.
God. Oh my
Oh
God.
yeah. I mean, I was driving a guy's cattle from Miller, South Dakota to Fort Pierre and
Yeah.
driving brand new rig, brand new everything. Of course, Highway Patrol's sitting up there, and all these other rigs are pulling their cattle that way. And all of a sudden, I go by and he pulls me over. I was doing about 60, 64, and he pulls me over because your driver's license registration. And I says, this isn't my vehicle, but here's my driver's license, and I don't know what insurance is at. Anyways, make a long story short, I'm sitting there go, and then he starts asking, well, where are you from and what are you doing here? And I'm like, where am I from? I said, I'm from Flanders, South Dakota. I'm helping a friend of mine haul some cattle to Fort Pierre. Hold on a second here. And I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So I grabbed my briefcase. I was carrying my bio and stuff, and I handed it to him. And I said, here, take this back with you to the car and read it so you know who you're dealing with here, because I ain't going to put up with your bullshit. So he comes back, hands me my driver's license back, and he goes, I'm new here. I'm new to South Dakota. I'm from Kentucky. I said, yeah. I says, do you know Derek Clark? So he's a black highway patrolman. I've only met one black highway patrolman ever in South Dakota. But anyways, he goes, before I go, could you sign this for me? I said, tell Dennis I say hi, by the way. And I took off. And then on the way back, he was still sitting there and he's waving. He was waving. And I just waved at him, kept up my business.
You have to call it out. Like, my partner is Hispanic, And like
Right.
even little things, and I'm sure it takes so much of his energy and yours too, but like we went to Menards and there was a security guard there, and there was this white guy and he just bypassed the little, the thing, the wheelie thing you got to go through or
Yeah.
whatever. The
Right.
white guy
Yeah. Yeah.
bypassed it and just went and got his cart. But when my partner wanted to get his, he was like, no, you have to go through this. And he was like, what the hell are you talking about? I just watched you help a white man go through here, but you're talking to me? Like, you have to call it out, because it's like, why? It's a total things that happen to you that would not happen to any of your white friends,
Exactly. And even like with our tribal ID cards, I had to, I think it was 2010, I testified for South Dakota to recognize our tribal identification cards as proper legal forms of identification. I first had this problem in 1996 when I couldn't get on an airplane. I had to call Senator Tom Daschle, and under
You
that
have
time,
met all the senators. You have met all of them. You're naming all of them right now. So you called Tom.
Yeah, well, I called his office, and then Federico Pena, under the Clinton administration at that time, I told him what was going on, and because I had to sit there, I had to catch the red eye flight now because I missed my regular flight. Because how embarrassing was it standing there? They wouldn't let me on the plane because your tribal ID was unacceptable. But if I had a green card, that'd work. Even like Western Union, I could have sued them. I could have sued Walmart with this tribal ID issue. So finally, Kevin Killer, who's chairman of the Oglala Sioux tribe now, I had testified to South Dakota and said, you guys it's being racist and bigoted that you won't accept our tribal IDs as proper identification to cash a check from Walmart, yada, yada, or get a driver's license or whatever. Because face it, a lot of Indians don't even have a driver's license. All they got is a tribal ID.
Yeah.
So but I could use my tribal ID to join the military, and I could use my tribal ID to pay my taxes.
Wow.
They accepted it then, and I said, but South Dakota will not accept my tribal ID as a proper form of identification. And I said, now there you go. I told South Dakota, says, you go look behind your Capitol building and how many American Indians are dead fighting for this country that you got on this memorial in Vietnam and other places.
Right.
They talk about the Navajo code talkers, but we had the Sioux
I was
code
just gonna
talkers
say
too.
they had their own code.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And so to be racist against a group of people that saved your country, I'll never understand that.
It sounds like you're talking about specifically the Midwest and South Dakota in general, and this is the third question. Do you feel like South Dakota and the Midwest in general has a problem with racism, and what specifically is or are the problems, and what do you think needs done going I realize that's a loaded question, but what do you think can be done or should be done going forward?
Well, I said it back in 1990 when I was testifying in the state legislature. I called South Dakota Mississippi of the North. And unfortunately, it's still true to this day. Take a look at the COVID issue, where Kristi Noem was messing with Harold Frazier about checkpoints. What's wrong with that? At least we care about our people. You didn't care a shitload about South Dakotans, and got to be tough. Donald Trump says do this, so you run his butt and you do that, and but people were dying. Even your own grandmother died of COVID.
Kristi's
nobody
grandmother died?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is the first I am hearing of this.
Yeah, I was, she's from Castlewood, South Dakota, and I came to Arlington. Her mother was in the Arlington old folks home, I do believe. But yeah, I mean, it's just, but then things how, we don't want we're on socialism, social Indians get free this, Indians get free that. Well, how come you got $600,000 of free money for your COVID fund? 600. I mean, how's that work?
I never met any Native American person who got anything free except maybe some college courses through Gear Up. Do you remember Gear Up?
Which was illegal.
Yeah, and Gear Up, a white guy even stole that. Like,
yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, It was a program for college students for different activities for things and things of that nature. And a rich white pastor, or a rich white guy in Nebraska embezzled all the money. So, yeah,
But the thing about it is, on the other hand, there are a lot of great white people in South Dakota. I'm not mad at,
that's true.
that's, I mean, there, I mean, like I said, my family's white, and because the thing about it is whenever I speak, people take it personally. They're like, Lynn, I'm not a racist. I didn't say you're a racist. I'm just talking about my experiences in South Dakota. I'm not calling anybody a South Dakota racist. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not, unless if I'm going to call you racist, I'll be standing in front of you.
But
I
they
won't,
also
I won't,
can't take you as
well,
their token black friend and just say, "Oh, well, I'm not a racist," or their token indigenous friend.
right. Yeah. And that's the hard thing, because you'll ask these people and they know who they are. How
Yeah,
many black people do you know? I know Lynn Hart,
yeah,
or I know so. He's my neighbor down the road. He's an Indian guy,
not the same
It's
thing. You got to
no, it's
learn.
not.
You got to be better, So it sounds
But
like what you're saying is that people, I think we discussed before, need to culture themselves. They need to meet other people from other cultures and get out of their little bubble, and that will help bring about change.
definitely. I mean, how many people live in South Dakota never been to an Indian reservation?
Right.
My mom's one of them. She's a
Oh, wow.
school teacher. I mean, there's so many people. All they hear is the myth. Don't play with the Indians. You get drunker than hell and all this and all that.
Right.
They don't realize how, they don't care if we're educated. We got attorneys, we got lawyers, we got, everything, that's old John Wayne shit. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
not true. Look at me. Do I look drunk to you? No, I'm not, But
Oh,
I ain't gotta say I've never drank a beer before. Everybody knows I will drink a Budweiser. But
I
anyways,
think what it
that's me though.
is creating this fear. It's like they create this fear with these stereotypes and rumors, and then the people don't talk to the other people, and that creates a divide. It's a divide and conquer concept, is what I think.
That's true. Very true. You know. But the thing about is the goal for me trying to bring people together, not apart, is I would love to go on just in South Dakota. I brought you the Martin Luther King holiday. I brought you Native American Day. I know it's like to be black. I know it's like to be white. Now, if you want to know anything about those two cultures, why don't you hire me to your school system and let me bring the National Martin Luther King Holiday Award that I won from Coretta Scott King, Stevie Wonder, William Sessions, director of the FBI and the Clinton administration. Let me tell my story. Give me an hour each with these schools in South Dakota. Give them a
How much
chance to
does that
meet.
mean to the kids, the kids
Well,
that are
that's
watching?
what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
it's been over 30 years ago since I testified. And but I've never been to one school in South Dakota and told my story. And now they want to induct me into the South Dakota Hall of Fame. For what? Well,
For
the King Holiday and Native American Day, of course.
yeah,
It's
for
called Year in Reconciliation. Well, the point
publicity.
is, well, the point is, South Dakota at least needs to show that they're trying. So what are they doing? They're reinstating the slave auction tonight.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if
can't
it's
believe
true,
that.
but I heard that this afternoon. So I don't want to, but if they do, I will hear about it. And like I said, that $100 that I'm glad I didn't mail it yet
Yeah.
today. Because because if they have their slave auction tonight in faith, they ain't getting my money. They ain't getting my support. But I could have raised them a lot of money if they would have just stuck to it.
The thing in South Dakota is that's a thing that'll happen here, and it happens even with our mayor Steve Allender here in Rapid. They'll put on a nice little show, and oh look at this, and they'll take their picture or make their claim, and then they go ahead and do whatever the fuck they want anyways. I mean, that doesn't it disappoints me that they're still planning on holding that auction, apparently, but it doesn't surprise me, sadly.
Me neither. you know.
And that's
But I ain't
very
gonna quit fighting. I ain't gonna quit fighting for it. And as long as people know that my heart's in the right spot and I'm trying my best I can do, and I'm offering my services to the state, you know, uh, they have to realize that, I get more respect when I leave the state of South Dakota as who I am and what I've done for South Dakota than I ever do in South Dakota. Because if South Dakota respected me, they would have me in school systems, meeting kids and greeting kids. And you know what I'm saying?
I do.
And just say, hey, we can make this work. And let me have the kids. But I'm thinking they don't want me to have the kids because they're afraid that I might tell them something that they're supposed to know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, take a look at Kelloland, KSFY. I can't think of the TV station in Rapid, but in 30 years since I'm the only guy in history who created two holidays in one legislative session in the United States of America. I've never been invited to speak to any TV stations on either or day in 30 years.
That's terrible. That's terrible. That's you're offering your services for free. And even if you weren't,
Yeah.
I mean, that's I would feel very disrespected as well. So on that note, we're going to take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back with Bite Me. All right, guys, welcome back to Bite Me. We're here with Smokey, aka reztuff from TikTok, Lynn Hart. So we were talking previously about, change going forward. You were also mentioning, your willingness to go to schools and speak with school children, educate them on what they need to know that we don't think the state is teaching them. What advice, if you could speak to those children, if you had the ability, if you were asked to come speak to them, what would you tell the young people in future generations? How can they be better, and what do you want to see?
Oh, mostly it's about positive attitude. You're only as good as the company you keep. And the company that you should keep is a company that makes you laugh and smile and enjoy each other's company. It shouldn't be about the color of their skin or things like that. So I'm kind of, people call me a comedian, because I can slide in and make somebody laugh. I wasn't planning on laughing that day, or smile that wasn't planning on smiling that day. And so, yeah, I just, give me kids, the adults are kind of done with, I don't want to talk to anybody my age or older, or whatever.
Old dogs do tricks, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's what it is. It's just getting an open dialogue the way it should be, transparency, honesty, things like that.
Yeah. Okay. And probably a little bit, I mean, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like we need to be teaching the correct Native American history and also Black history in our schools more so than is done now. Need to correct that.
Yeah, that was a major complaint when I testified that, a friend of mine wrote a book called Black People in South Dakota's History by Ted Blakey.
Okay.
And from Yankton, and it's an awesome read. Talks about Sarah Campbell, that was worked for Custer. He was Custer's cook coming through there. She's buried up there in Galena.
Okay.
Deadwood Dick, his name was Nate Love. He won the roping and riding contest in Deadwood, South Dakota in 18 something. But the point is that there's a lot of Black history. Buffalo soldiers, Fort Hale, Fort Meade, the shooting of Corporal Halland in Sturgis, things like that. It's just fascinating to read. But the point is that, yeah, you need to start telling the truth, And how in the heck can you, opinions were here first. You guys, we let you in the door. And now you're acting like you own the whole state. You don't own South Dakota. You never have, never will. You still don't even, you bring your fireworks display and all that over 4th of July up there last summer with Trump and all that, and throwing people in jail that are, that's a Lakota dude there.
The Tilsons, Nick Tilson.
That story there just irks me to no end.
Yeah.
But the thing that America, I wrote this concept, America, about the forgotten race of the American Indian. It's kind of like the buffalo, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And the wild buffalo, and it's like we're fading out of sight, out of mind. And when I travel around the country, I don't see Indians on planes, trains, buses.
Right.
You don't see them wearing suits, or everybody thinks you got to be dressed up in leather and beads and all that. That's not true. That's not true. I don't do that. I mean, but yeah, it's sad. I mean, it's almost like they just don't want us around anymore. Okay, but you guys broke a lot of treaties to get where you're at now, and you're still breaking treaties. So, I wish South Dakota would meet us, and quit being so racist towards us Indians. We got mothers, brothers, and sisters too.
Some respect and human decency on even a basic level, I feel. I mean, it really needs rectified here very seriously.
Yeah, and it's like the rest of the country, it's fighting blacks, but here in South Dakota, it's all against the American Indian, the
I
Lakota,
mean, that's
Dakota,
what I
Nakota.
see. And I'm not saying, obviously you're here. There's there's obviously black people in South Dakota, but I do think in specifically the Native American population, this is just my opinion, faces in South Dakota anyways, the brunt of the racism here is what I see. But maybe it's the same across the board. It's different. My partner explained to me once, he's like, there's people who are just racist against Native people. There's people who are just racist against Mexican people. There are people who are just racist against Black people. So that's a whole other thing. But I think it goes back to what you said about people getting themselves, some culture and some exposure to other things in general.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is because you have people that don't have the opportunity, or they'll take a lot of dairy farmers on this side because they milk cows twice a day. I
Right.
used to live on a dairy farm, but anyways, don't go anywhere. Either they're in the field or pulling tits, one of the two. That's all they're doing. And 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 unfortunately, they miss out on the United States, on the country that they live in, the people that are here, and as a result, they will work till the day they die and never went on a vacation.
Yeah.
They put they stack a bunch of hay out there in the pasture. They'll sit there for 5 to 6 years and go, oh, and that's how I see it, hay for days. It's like, how come they never feed that? Well, it might be a blizzard here. You never know.
Yeah.
It's like it never happens with global
They're
warming.
not really living. Yeah. I mean, they miss all the great things about America that makes it so beautiful, which are the different places and the different people. So the very thing, their whole diatribe of America, 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 and then they're not even really experiencing America. They're just experiencing their small town.
Yeah, and what they see on news, but that's their personal choice. But there are people out here that I talked to. I'm from Watertown, a friend of mine. He came back, said, Lynn, guess what? All excited. I said, what's that? He goes, guess what we did? And I was like, what did you do, man? Went to Mount Rushmore. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we went up there inside. We just got back. Man, what a trip that was. And then
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
are you serious? You went from Watertown to Rapid City and you're just elated. We even went to Sturgis. Yes, we did. And we went
That's
to
sheltered.
Deadwood. And then
Wow.
they came back. I was like, okay, wow. But then I got to remember too, there's a lot of people on the reservation never even left the res,
Yeah.
But that's true. So people choose a life, I guess, not to leave or whatever. And that's fine with me. I don't care what people do, but they're missing out. That's all I got to say.
I agree with you completely.
I
So
mean, I see you travel a lot.
I do. I mean, not as much as I'd like to. I have very big plans for the future in traveling. I want to go to Germany and Korea and England and all the United Kingdom. But I have children right now. And so I do what I can here. And then the pandemic happened, so that was a thing too. But my brother lives in Nevada, and me and my partner, we get out, as you say, you go to Denver, we go to Denver as well. So I do what I can with what I have, and we do camp quite a bit, and I like to think I think I mentioned to you that my brother is of South Korean ethnicity, and then my partner is Hispanic ethnicity. And so I like to think that, and I do Airbnb. So I like to think that culture comes to me, even if I can't go to it, just to be open to it. I mean, because that's a thing too, people ask me, they're like, well, what do you think about this, about the Native American, whatever Native American situation? I'm like, why don't you go ask them? Why don't you just walk up to a Native American person, because they exist and they know how to talk. So why don't you just go ask them, like, they're not going to bite.
Well, I think it's kind of funny because, like I said, my parents that adopted me are white, and my mom and dad used to play bridge all the time. They used to play with Warren Buffett.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, yeah. So, anyways, they they would be in places, and all of a sudden, somebody bring up Indians, stinking Indians, and or people of color, Mexicans, or whoever they were talking about. And my mom would sit. She goes, "Well, that's interesting." While they're playing cards, well, that's interesting. We have a son that's black and Indian, don't we, Jim? And oh my God, they would just shut.
Oh my God.
And because they would say things that wouldn't be said if I was there.
It sounds
So
like
you got that subtle resonance.
Do you feel like maybe your parents were a little bit ahead of their time? I mean, they sound
definitely
kind of woke for where they were at,
Well, yeah, I got twin sisters that they adopted. They're white and black, and this was back in the 70s.
Right.
I mean,
right.
and it just wasn't heard of back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been truly blessed that way to have. Well, they're both teachers, educated.
Teachers
So
are neat.
people say, "Lynn, did you go to?" Yeah, did you? Because they talked to me. It's like, what college did you go to again? And I said, I didn't go to college. No way. And they're like, well, you sound so highly educated. And I says, well, I got my education at supper table.
Yeah, that's the best kind. That's the best kind.
Yeah.
Well, very
exactly.
Cool. So now our last question, and I always get a little excited for this one because it's not political or anything, or it can be.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to ask you, living in Flandreau, and you mentioned that I think you said you were a rodeo clown before, and you've helped haul cattle, and you're a cowboy, I think it's safe to say, of sorts. So what is your hands down like best tale, or what tale do you have about like maybe somebody made a judgment about you and then you proved them wrong, or like tell us a fun story.
Well, first of all, I can play cowboys and Indians by myself.
Oh my God. The best thing I've heard all month.
Not everybody can do that.
That's crazy. Okay.
But yeah, I think I got so many of them, but I think I'd have to refer back to when I first got out of the Marine Corps and I came back to Oneida, South Dakota, for a Sutton Ranch rodeo. And when I walked behind the bucket chutes, and just as is, I had my rigging bag there, and all of a sudden, the guys behind the chutes, they just looked at me like, what the hell? And I'd walk by and you could hear the pin drop, And so anyways, I was talking to Steve Sutton, and he owns Sutton Rodeos. Anyways, I said, what bull do I got? And Steve said, you got a bull called J3 Spectacular's Velvet. And I looked at him and I said, does he buck? Really cocky, and everybody they just looked at me like, what ship did you just jump off of? Yeah, it's like you just drew Spectacular's Velvet, the bucking bull of the year, the PRCA. And I didn't, nobody told me that. I said, Steve goes casually, I was warming up my rope, and Steve goes, yeah, he bucks a little bit. That's all he said. So now I needed somebody to come pull my rope, and I think it was no, it was Blair Hamilton that says, I gotta ride a bareback course first, but as soon as I'm done, I'll come back and pull your rope. I said, sure, that sounds like a good deal. So I get on this bull, and he's all white speckled bull, and Steve Meyer from Winter, South Dakota was a bullfighter at that time. Chipmunk, they call him. One of my favorite people in the world. Anyways, so here we are, 4th of July, Oneida, South Dakota. I'm on this bull. Didn't know he's a bucking bull here. J3's protected as well. They open the gate. This bull goes right to the left. Boom, boom. And then he throws me back in the chute that I came out of, right? And there's everybody's all jumping up and down. You rode him, you rode him, you rode him, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like coming up. And then I thought I rode him, but I can't remember who was the judge. He comes, says, sorry, Lynn, 7-9 on the clock. Missed it by a tenth of a second.
Yeah.
And then after that, everybody's like, hey, where are you from? Who are you traveling with? You know, and then Blair, the guy that pulled the rope. And then we became best friends. He said, he's coming with me. And so, yeah. so then, yeah, that was, but it was just, you know, for a moment there, people, that's what I liked about rodeos, because people don't, you know, during whatever they're doing, at that split second when they're doing it, they stop thinking like that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's probably why I excelled, because my family owns the All Black Rodeo. A lot of people don't know that. It's called the Bill Pickett Invitational. And this year we are teaming up with PBR, Professional Bull Riders, which is huge to have an All Black Rodeo team up with. It's going to be televised in June on CBS.
Absolutely.
And but we started that organization back in 1984. And it's like a 37th anniversary right now. So if you get a chance, go check us out at billpicketrodeo.com.
Okay, very cool.
But other than that, I just want to be able to make myself available to help bring people together and apart. And, yeah, and it's time. This racist stuff is getting a little bit old to me. I mean,
it's time, and it's been time, you know. It's been time for quite some time, and it took us a very long time to get here, unfortunately. But yeah, it's there was a Black Marine who said, we are done dying, and I think that's you know,
right, exactly. And it's just like with this faith South Dakota issue, you know, I'm still going to keep the faith. You know,
yeah.
If they do have it, they have it. They're just going to be minus my donation, but I'm still going to speak out against it, like I have for the last 5-6 years now.
Hey, but you know what? Karma is a real thing, and the GOP is shooting themselves in the head right now. So if they want to keep being ignorant, they can go right ahead. But all they're doing is showing more of their true colors, and people who were on the fence aren't on the fence anymore. You know.
Thank God, you know, and that's another one of my companies, which I don't think people realize. I started a company called brownlikejesus.com.
Okay.
And a lot of people, all my life, Jesus Christ has been a white guy. You
know?
You got
a white. Why?
Yeah, it's in the Middle East. I mean, really? Come on. If you read about him in the Bible, he has hair of wool and skin of bronze. But the point is like, you know, even the Easter Bunny is white, you know?
Yeah.
And Santa Claus is white too. And the tooth
yeah.
They need to step that game up a little bit.
Yeah, Betty Crocker's white. Everything's white. They think Aunt Jemima's white. Like, they just think everything is white. Like, it's just not the same unless they take it and culturally appropriate it into something that they can tie to religion for some reason. You know, control. It's all about control and fear.
Control and fear is right, and it's not. I'm not mad at anybody because not everybody's the same. But you got to admit, America, we do have a problem.
Yeah, it's so blatant. You cannot deny it anymore. And if you do, then you're a part of the problem.
And that's why I'm thankful for you. You're great, by the way. I think you're awesome. I love your dogs.
Thank you. Once I had my platform, I felt like I'm here. So I think I have a responsibility to say something, you know, for the people who aren't being heard out here. And to me, again, that was the Native American women, you know, in the jail. I feel and I couldn't tell you any of their names. In jail, you don't really retain names. You're in jail. But just their kindness towards me, I will always feel a great debt in my heart to them. That's I have a responsibility to dispel, and I used to be a Republican and a racist as well. I grew up Republican and racist in Nebraska, so I feel I have a great responsibility to dispel the rumors of ignorance that are what goes on here in the Midwest, because hate breeds hate, it does.
Right. I agree. And so I don't know how much time we got left here, but I think the most important thing is to remember the golden rule: do unto others as one thing do unto you.
Yeah, altruism is a real thing. Kindness, just kindness to other human beings. Isn't that the whole point? My God, if you can't share this earth with other human beings and have the human being experience, what in the hell are we all doing?
Exactly.
You
Bingo.
come in, you come into this earth with nothing and you leave it with nothing. You don't have everything to show for it, all you got is your experience. So it's very important. But somebody's talking to you. On that note, we
Uh-oh.
lead in with the bark and we leave with the bark. I want to thank Smokey for joining us today. Go ahead and check him out, reztuff on TikTok. And also he's got this Res Weed Indeed thing going, where it's sort of the movement for when weed becomes medically legal here in South Dakota. He's sort of, I think you're lobbying to have it grown on the reservations. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's very true. We got a grow house right now here in Flandreau, and so as soon as everything's legal, ready to roll, come to Flandreau.
All right.
But the thing about, so I want to say, if people wanted to really hear me speak a little bit more and get to know me, you can look me up on YouTube, just Lynn Smokey Hart, and all my videos are there.
Very cool. If you guys want to learn more about Midwestern racism, you can visit lithub.com and read The Fault Lines of Midwestern Racism Run Deep by Ahmad Jamal Johnson. And for more general guidance on how to be a better Indigenous ally, you can visit amnestyinternational.org. We'll see you guys next time.